From the first time we meet Kate, it's really like clear that there's something deeply wrong with her. You know, her introverted demeanor and the sadness in her eyes already speaks volumes. You know, she sits in the classroom with her head down, avoiding eye contact with anyone and everyone other than Max. You know, it's not just shyness, it's manifestation of something much more serious. While others at Blackwell seem carefree and self-absorbed, you know, Kate is already a victim of silent suffering. You know, her character is introduced in a way that reflects her deep isolation, setting the stage for the traumatic events that's going to follow throughout the game. The infamous viral video serves as a catalyst for Kate's despair. You know, the video, which depicts Kate like behaving like a party wild animal, you know, it spread it like a wildfire across campus. But what's important to understand here is that Kate is a victim of manipulation. You know, the video was filmed without her consent after being drugged out at the Vortex Club party. What we see here isn't just, you know, the result of poor decision making, but rather than a calculated effort to like shame and humiliate her. You know, the casual cruelty of these students just sharing the video illustrates the environment that Kate has to endure, a toxic mix of judgment and lack of empathy that, you know, only deepens her sense of helplessness. Even inside the walls of her dorm, Kate is a safe eater. The bullying continues with students taunting her in the hallways and writing "weird" or "go away" on the slate outside her dorm. You know, even in her most supposed safe space, she is not even shielded from the cruelty of her peers. The dorm, which should offer like a refugee, becomes yet another reminder of her isolation. You know, her room is cluttered with the signs of her depression. You know, from the untouched bed to the drawn blinds, you know, reinforcing the sense that she is withdrawing from the world. Kate's religious background is a crucial role of her character. Raised in a strict Christian household, she turns to her faith and comfort. You know, however, this also becomes like a source of internal and external conflict, because her family's rigid expectations, you know, it basically like incinerate her feelings of guilt and shame. We see this when Kate explains to her family, particularly her aunt, views her as a disgrace because of the viral video. You know, her faith, while a source of solace, it's also a burden because it carries the weight of her family's judgment. For Kate, the struggle isn't just social, it's spiritual. Her belief system, which should have been like a place of refugee, and becomes another battleground where she faces judgment and shame. Kate's victimization is compounded by the failure of the authority figures around her. The principal, who should be an advocate for students' well-being, dismisses her concerns when she tries to explain what happened at the party. Even teachers like Mr. Jefferson, who are aware of the bullying, fail to step in and provide support. This neglect, man, I ain't gonna lie, shoot, I would've said I would've blamed Kate for being on top of that roof because she had no business being up there. But still, this neglect reflects a system that, like, it's an issue in Blackwell Academy, where the culture of apathy, it allows this victimization for some reason. Like, the people who were supposed to help Kate throughout the game, like, they either dismiss her or make her feel like more ashamed, leaving her with no one to turn to. The moment that defined Kate's character arc is her attempted off herself, basically. You know, it's a combination of all the abuse, the neglect, and the internal struggle she has faced. You know, standing on the rooftop, you know, Kate is the embodiment of despair. You know, she feels trapped, alone, with no escape from the shame and suffering inflicted upon her. You know, her dialogue in this scene reveals like the depth of her pain. You know, she feels abandoned by her friends, hell, even her family, and even her faith. You know, it's a harrowing depiction of the impact that relentless bullying and isolation can have in person. Like, all I'm saying is, leave people alone, please. Because bullying and isolation, like, it can like have like an effect on person's mental health for real. Like, please leave people alone, that's all I'm saying. Depending on your choice, I'm not gonna lie, my first playthrough, she jumped off the roof and it was over for her. But thanks to YouTube, I managed to, you know, save her the second time. But depending on your choice on what happened, if Kate survived on the rooftop, you know, her journey is far from over. You know, although Max like may have saved her life, the scars still remain. You know, the aftermath reveals like a broader indifference at Blackwell, where some students continue to mark her for some reason. I don't I don't know what's up with these students. I don't know if they're miserable. I don't know if their daddy and mama wasn't hugging them enough when they was a kid. I don't know. But they dismiss our struggle still. Some of them, not all of them. You know, Kate's family is still conflicted in their response. You know, with some members offering support, you know, while others continue to judge her. If Kate does not survive, her death becomes a tragic commentary on the consequences of unchecked cruelty. You know, with only a few characters showing genuine remorse, the game forces people to like confront the fact that bullying can have an irreversible outcome. You know, not a stark reminder of the real life implications. While Life is Strange presents several characters who experience hardship, Kate's story is the most harrowing because her suffering is like literally multi-layered, social, spiritual, and institutional. She is not only bullied by her peers, but also let down by the very systems meant to protect her. You know, her struggle with depression, fueled by relentless bullying and religious guilt, is depicted in raw, realistic detail. Kate's narrative isn't just about like being a victim. It's about the tragic consequences of societal failure to support those who are struggling. She is the face of the voiceless victims of bullying, not just in the game, but in real life too, reminding us, you know, the importance of empathy and action. Kate's Marsh story is a powerful reminder of how words and actions can deeply affect others. You know, her victimization in Life is Strange is a reflection on real life issues of bullying and mental health. For those who may feel like Kate, remember that your story matters. And there's hope, even in the darkest moments. And for everyone else, be there, listen and act. Because you never know who might need like a lifeline. Like, I understand, people go through stuff, and I know people themselves have their own problems. But check on your friend every now and then, you never know. They got something going on. You don't know that. Just talk to them. Check up on them. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, that's the end of the video, and I'll see y'all in the next one.